Hello everyone, you're in my mixing bowl today, so of course we're going to be baking. Today we're making an apple bread. I guess you can call it a bread. But you're going to need 2/3 cups of sugar, and I have a lot of my ingredients already set up and measured, and don't worry, you'll see the amounts in the video. So we have 2/3 cups of sugar, granulated sugar. And then you're going to have a 1/2 cup of butter. Okay? Now you can do a 1/2 cup of butter, or you could always mix it and do a 1/4 cup of butter and 1/4 cup of like a lard or, you know, Crisco, some type of shortening. There we go. And now I'm just going to give this a quick little mix. Alright, so I gave it a quick little mix. As you can see, it's just blended together. And that's our goal. Everything should be just blended, just so much. Our next ingredient that we're going to add is 1/2 cup of milk. We're just going to pour that on in and just mix it a little. Because to our milk, we're going to be adding eggs, okay? And our eggs will be added one at a time. And you want to have those nice and cold and just coming out of the refrigerator. And this looks very gross. A lot of people would normally just do their egg before the milk. It doesn't really matter with this recipe, because it's a very forgiving recipe. Okay, so I'm going to add 1 egg at a time, beating after each one. And the second egg. Alright, so we got my 2 eggs in here. I'm going to go ahead and lower this down. And you can see I didn't beat that last egg all the way. That's fine, because that's what my handy dandy spatula is for. So we've got our butter, sugar, milk, and eggs. So we're good to go. And I love having a lot of flaky butter in here. This is going to work out perfectly, because that'll do a lot of melting when we're doing our baking. Okay, so it's looking really gross. Let's go ahead and move on to our next step, which will be to add our dry ingredients. Your dry ingredients are going to include 1½ cups of flour, 1 3/4 teaspoons of baking powder, and that's it. And I already have mine mixed together in the bowl, so I'll just add it slowly and begin mixing it together, just so. Now this flour is all-purpose flour, which I use probably most often. This is a really quick dish that you can make, like one Thanksgiving or Christmas morning. Sometimes when everybody isn't really watching their weight. This would be really great. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all mixed together. And remember, you just mix it to where it's well mixed. Don't over mix. Think of it like a cake, even though it's bread. See how I still have a lot of flour here on the sides of the bowl? That's just fine, because I'm going to just finish mixing it off by hand. I don't want to take any chances with over mixing. Now I'll go ahead and grab my pans so you can see just how we put this apple bread together. Okay, so I'm going to take and pour about half my mixture into this pan. And this is just a 8-inch loaf pan, in case you guys were wondering. Let's see here. And I have a lot of apples. Now, in my apple bowl, I have apples, brown sugar, and cinnamon. Okay? Oh, and also granulated sugar. Now, just to kind of give you a quick rundown on what's in the apples, and I want to show you my delicious apple mixture. You can see that. Okay, now, what I have here is 3 large baking apples. You can slice them, grate them, do them in chunks. I chose just like little chunks about like this, okay? And I do this ahead of time so it can just sit and just kind of sit and already be prepped, and it also makes the recipe go by really quickly. It has 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and 4 tablespoons of granulated sugar, along with 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. And then you just take and mix it up with a knife. It's not rocket science. You don't have to do anything special to it, okay? But you're gonna load it up with this apple mixture. And this is about half of what I just showed you guys, because I'll do another pan in a moment. And you're gonna press this down just gently into the batter, because it's gonna cook up around it. Don't worry. And your next set of ingredients that you're gonna add to this delicious apple bread is our brown sugar and nut mixture, okay? Now, the brown sugar mixture consists of 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon. And now the next portion is optional. I chopped up a lot of pecans to put in mine. You can do walnuts or you can do neither. You don't have to do any of that. You can just leave it exactly the way it is. Uh-oh, and I'm making a mess here. But you just want to add that crumble right on top, okay? And this makes enough, I believe, for 2 pans. The brown sugar mixture and everything. And now just use your hand or use the spatula that you were using for your batter and gently mash those apples and what'll turn into your strudel down into your apple bread, okay? Now this bread is really good, like if you take it, bake it, and you may want to turn it into French toast the next morning. It'll make a really yummy French toast. Okay, now we're just going to pour our remaining batter on top, okay? I'm using the same spatula, so you'll notice the color kind of changes a little. So just pour and spread our batter all over the top. And then you'll just get it ready for the oven. Bake at 350 degrees. People always say for how long? How long is really going to depend on your oven, okay? This could take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to bake. So make sure you have plenty of time. But go ahead and get all of your batter on top. And now I'll go ahead and pop mine into the oven, and when it's done, I'll show you the finished product. Take a look inside this pan. Now this is hot. You don't really want to cut it while it's hot. You want to wait until it's nice and cool. But I really wanted to look inside the loaf pan. Okay, so our apple bread is all done. And as you can see, the strudel goes all through it. We've got our delicious apples in there, nice and fluffy. Everything looks very sweet and very delicious. So, on the website, you'll be able to either go to Tamona's Tips or look in the description box, or if you wrote down all the ingredients throughout the video, you'll have the recipe. But you can always go to Tamona's Tips and find the recipe if you don't see it anywhere else. So until next time, this is Tamona signing off. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.